Welcome to The Life of Hair. My name's James Atkinson. Thank you for joining me in this week's episode. This week's episode is about looking at a graduated bob shape. Now, I've just done a series of lives. This is November 2020 for anybody that's watching this in the future, and everything that I have done in those lives are still on my channel for you to watch and enjoy whenever you feel like it. But I've done two of those shapes already. I'm going to show you them very quickly. One's a very, very classic graduated bob shape with a very, very soft graduation in the back here and a very, very simple technique to make this happen. And with a similar technique, and not hugely different, we've taken that shape and we've moved it on a step. We've created something asymmetric, geometric, and a whole lot more Sassoon-esque. Now, some of the things that I advocated in these lives, things to avoid doing, actually we get to see in this video the things that I was saying, don't do this or try and avoid that. Now, not to say that anything this gentleman does in this video is wrong. It's just that personally, I wouldn't want all the work that it creates, because it just creates a whole lot more work for you to do. And when you're under time pressure in the salon, steps that are not necessary are not necessary, believe it or not. Anyway, not going to talk anymore. I want you to have a wonderful week, and please do me that massive favour. Thumbs up, subscribe, chat to me in the comments. All of those things help to grow the channel, and of which the channel has grown amazingly well over the last 2.5 years. So for everybody who's done their bit, thank you very much. And anybody who wants to take their Life of Hair education one step further, I do a Patreon. It's linked in the description. It's more lives where we go deeper into the techniques, and I try and give you as much connection to me as humanly possible so that I can answer those questions that are really, really burning inside you. Look after yourselves. Have a wonderful week. So the gentleman who we're going to be watching today is called Walid Chaker. And if I pronounced that wrong, then I'm ever so sorry. My pronunciation of names is not my strong point. So we're going to first look at his pre-section. Now, that pre-section there is not all that clean. The line is not that clean. And for me, that is like, you've got to have a clear, clean line when you're pre-sectioning. It's really, really important to get that consistent, clean roadmap of where you're traveling to. You know, it all becomes a bit mushy and hazy if you don't get those clean sections in straight away. Let's look at where he's pre-sectioned to. He's taken a horizontal section through the middle of the occipital bone. It's sort of, you know, slightly towards the bottom of the occipital bone. And then he's going to take a vertical section and he's going to cut with a finger angle that is square relative to the head shape, with the head slightly tilted forward. So it's going to have quite a steep graduation on it because of the, you know, angle that he's creating with his fingers. And of course, this first section is absolutely golden. We've got to get this first section right. It creates the amount of weight, or not weight, we have in the entire haircut. So we've got to be really, really careful about this very, very first section. Now you can see him talking in this video. There is no voiceover. So I don't know where that voiceover went, or if he's talking in a different language. And of course, the one thing that you don't get to hear is whether he's over directing each section to the previous section, whether it's all just straight back from the head shape, or he's over directing everything back to the center section. Now I'm gonna guess, just by looking, that everything is just coming straight back from the head shape. It's this section you can see right now that makes me think that. And you know, his angle that he created in the beginning, because he's pivoting his sections, will be getting steeper. Now he's using a finger angle that his fingers are pointing up towards the ceiling. Now this is very important to note later in the haircut. So he's cut in his left hand side, and you can see right now he's one length behind the ear. So it's gone graduated down and it's one length. Okay, so he's going to move on to his right hand side now. And we're going to see him move through this haircut now with an upside down finger angle. So he's gone from his fingers pointing towards the ceiling to his fingers pointing towards the floor. Now, that's okay, but you have to remember to keep your fingers at the same angle the entire time. You've got to remember that your wrist is in a different position, so your body's in a different position, and whenever we change something on the opposite side, it will always impact the outcome. So we have to be very, very assured that what we're doing is going to give the same results. Now, if we look here, on this right-hand side, he is not one length. The arrow points to the hair is about 1 centimetre shorter than the perimeter, and he didn't have that in the left-hand side. And you can see quite clearly, actually, from this image that it's exactly like that on the left-hand side. So he's created imbalance very, very early on, and that is because of the change of finger angle, I would imagine, because it's really easy, once you change finger angle, to start changing what you did mechanically. Anyway, we'll see how he deals with that a bit later on. He then takes another section, and for what reason I'm not entirely sure, leaves a slither of hair out over by the crown area there. Now, if I take a section, that section should be fully incorporated. It shouldn't be too big. So think about that, guys. When you're making pre-sections, if you've got little fingers, make little pre-sections. If you've got big fingers, make bigger pre-sections. You know, don't just take a slither of hair and then just clip it up out of the way just for the sake of it. It's just making work. You've gone to the trouble of pre-sectioning. Make those pre-sections work for you, not you work for those pre-sections. So he's doing exactly what he did on the hair in the nape area to the hair above the nape area and above the occipital bone. He's cutting with his fingers upside down on the right hand side, and he's going to point his fingers up towards the ceiling over on the left hand side. Now, there's nothing he can do at this point about what he created here, where he's got the hair jumping up and it's not one length at the back. The only thing he could have done was get rid of that by starting that graduation at the bottom again and cutting it in shorter and fixing his mistake at that point. Now, it's at this point where he's kind of saying all the hair will travel forward, but we can clearly see from this that we have got that shorter area on that right hand side, and of course that is going to be indicative now of anything that happens in that graduated area. So moving on to the left hand side, and on the left hand side he doesn't have the same amount of under direction. He's created a beautiful square shape, and of course this side is going to sit much more fluidly, and his life's going to be a lot easier when it comes to this left hand side, just throughout the entire haircut from this point on, because everything that we do that is different creates work, because we have to undo it, because we want our haircuts to be symmetrical, and anything that we do then to fix asymmetry or imbalance within the shape adds time onto our haircuts, time that we could be spending doing other things, earning ourselves money. So here we go, this left hand side, now we can see where the arrow just pointed, beautiful graduation into one length. Now that is where graduation goes, by the way. Graduation runs into one length. If you start layering and doing other things like that, then that's a different type of graduated shape. But a traditional graduated bob shape goes into one length behind the ear. Then he changes tack completely, and he takes a section, elevates the hair up with a kind of 45-degree angle and scoops up towards the ceiling. Now, his body position is on the right hand side of the head, and he is cutting towards the ceiling. Now, I can't see, and he doesn't say, obviously, if he's over directing these sections. I'm going to presume that he's over directing because that's what he did in the back. And he's moving his body position round and cutting a square line that travels up towards the ceiling. Now, what that will create, though, is an enormous amount of weight at the occipital bone, because he's creating like a point. He's cut a graduated shape in this way that's heavy going that way, and he's cutting a line that goes short to long in the opposite direction. He's going to build up a lot of weight. Now, it's going to be very soft above it, but there will be a point in that graduation where that weight line is created. So that is something to bear in mind, guys. If you're going to cut a shape like this, and you can see now he's over directing all these sections back, so it's following the same premise as the graduated shape that he created, but he's cutting a line that travels away and up, and that is then just going to fall down and sit on his graduation. So there is going to be work for him to do to soften that up, because he's creating effectively a point at the back of the head at the occipital bone. Something definitely to think about if you do a technique like this. And the other thing that's going on here, because he's over directing and elevating, all the length is going to be left on the perimeter for him to potentially remove later. So it's really, really important, obviously, when we make these decisions, one, have we got the time for that? Two, is that absolutely necessary? Can we cut the perimeter in to within reason earlier, so we've got less hair to refine later? Because obviously refining is just to kind of make everything fit. Recutting everything whilst it's dry can be a little bit tricky, especially if the hair is really thick. So he's moved on to the opposite side, and he's moved his body position again. So he's now on the left hand side of the head, elevating the hair up. But now, instead of cutting up, he's just cutting square, because he can't cut up because his body position has changed. And you see, this now is going to create something that is different to the side that he previously cut. So can you see where I'm going with this? And I talk about it a lot in those lives that I did. Body position is absolutely critical. It's something that we totally overlook. Now, body position relative to the head shape is important. If you want to put your body over here or over there, well, that's up to you, providing your fingers are doing the same thing and you're cutting the same line. That's okay. But if you're going to swap sides, then you're definitely going to struggle to do exactly the same thing on both sides. Definitely something to think about, guys. If you like swapping sides, you aren't going to be able to do the same cutting angle. Like, he can't do the same scooping motion that he was previously doing, innately or not, on the opposite side. Just bear that in mind. Next time you're cutting hair, next time you're in the salon, think about these things. You know, they do impact the results. So he's going to work through this section now, and we're going to fast forward on a little bit. We're on to blow drying, wrap drying technique. Big fan of wrap drying, especially on bobs, natural fall, all those good stuff about cutting a bob. I know it's lovely to have a big blow dry on a bob and it looks, you know, makes the shape, emphasizes the shape. But certainly when I'm cutting a graduated bob shape in the salon, I do like to make sure my shape is pure and consistent. So, you know, blow drying it with lots of volume is going to give me less weight in my graduation. It might make it look nice and soft when I've blow dried it. But in reality, when we come to actually letting the client do their own hair, they might not get that same elevation, and therefore you might end up with a weight line in your graduation. Personally, I'd prefer a flatter shape that I know is, you know, precise and clean, than a shape that is potentially got a weight line hiding in it. Now, Walid is about to do his personalizing and refining technique. And so he's using a point cutting technique, and because of his elevation, he's got a lot of hair through this side to cut through. So he's used his comb, he's trapped it, and he's point cutting. Now, the comb does move backwards and forwards as he's point cutting. Ideally, we'd keep everything nice and still. And he's going for that kind of classic sassoon dovetail arc at the back. A very, very strong version of that, I must admit. Now, but if we look into this haircut very closely at this point, we can see the hole that was created by the change of finger angle. Right now, where I'm pointing, is also created over direction by pushing the hair forward when he put his comb in. So he's making his life extremely difficult in terms of getting this dovetail shape to sit balanced. Point, he's having to use a point cutting technique to soften up a weight line that he created because of those finger angle that he used to cut a square line up and built up extra weight in the occipital bone area. So that is something to bear in mind. You know, you don't necessarily need to work really hard at blending out your graduation. There are a few steps you can take that, you know, prevent you from needing to work really hard on blending in that graduation. And even when he's fully finished, you can see a very slight weight line still in there. So here's the finished result, giving a little bit of hairspray. And we're going to see in just a second that on the right hand side, he's had to go higher to create the dovetail effect because of the hole that he'd left from the change of finger angle. And you can see in my line that I've put across the screen here, it is slightly higher on that left hand side. And that is just that, like I said, change of finger angle. And of course that's affected the whole haircut. So those are some of the things that I talked about how to avoid. This isn't anything about Walid's work or anything else. This is just purely getting you guys to understand the method to my madness. And on that note, I want you to have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again for another episode of The Life of Hair.